Today we'll be making a Himmeli wreath. The Himmeli designs are geometrical patterns made into decorations in Scandinavian countries, primarily put up during winter. And today we will be making a wreath of the geometric design. For today's craft, you will need 105 sip stirring straws. So we're using black, but you can use any color. These are just coffee stirrers. You will also need 7 lengths of wire, 7 feet each. We're using 26 gauge wire. Now here I have some silver wire. Some of the kits will have green wire, and that's much easier to find in floral wire. So any color you can use, you won't see any of the wire in the wreath itself. You will also need 1 additional length of 3 feet wire, which this is optional, but it is very helpful to have on hand depending on how much of the wire you use for the rest of the wreath. And finally, you will also need a pair of scissors. So let's get started. We're going to put aside most of our materials. You're going to keep out 1 of the 7 foot lengths. And go ahead and unwind that. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight. As I said, you will not see any of the wire, but we just want to go ahead and open it up. All right, we're going to start with 4 of our straws. Go ahead and thread them onto one end of the wire. Leave just a little bit extra on the end there. And we're going to bend our wire to form a diamond shape with our 4 straws. And then we're going to take that extra bit on the end and just twist it around to hold it in place. We'll hide the ends later, but for now, leave them out so that if you have to undo any pieces, it'll be much easier. Next, we're going to take the long end of our wire, and we're going to put on 2 more straws. Pull it all the way through. We're going to bend these into an angle there, and you're going to take the wire to the opposite end where you just threaded them on, and we're going to twist it around what is currently there and just pull it through. So now you have your diamond, but you have another angle coming out one side, so it's kind of like a pyramid almost. That. And we're going to do that twice more until we have 5 sides to our diamond. So again, we're going to take our long end, and you're going to thread on 2 straws. Pull your wire all the way through. And fold it over to the opposite end of your diamond and twist the wire around the wire end there. Do that one more time. And pull it all the way through. So now you should have 5 points on your original diamond shape, so now it looks like a star. It's a little bit puffed out in the middle. Again, just twist it around. I'm going to take the end of our wire and feed it back through one of our straws. It can be any of them. We just want it so that the wire is coming from one of the points of our star rather than from the center. And just pull it all the way through. Okay. So we're going to take one more straw. Thread it onto your wire, pull it all the way down, and we're going to bring that across to the next point and twist it around that point of the star so that now one of our edges, two of our points are connected. And we're going to do that 3 more times until all of our points are connected except for 2. One more time. So now we have almost a pentagon shape. So we've got kind of a Pac-Man shape. So we should have one section still open. And we're going to put this shape aside for the moment, and you're going to repeat that 6 more times until you have altogether 7 of these Pac-Man semi-finished pentagon shapes. Once you have those 7 shapes finished, we're going to start with 2 of them, and you're going to line them up next to each other so that the open ends are pointing in the same direction. We're going to turn one of them just slightly so that the ends match together. Now we want all of our open ends to be pointing to the right and slightly down. They all need to go in the same direction so that we create our wreath shape instead of going in multiple directions and not creating a circle. So we're going to take the loose end of one of our shapes, and you're just going to put it through the straw on the end closest to where they need to connect, and pull it through so that they match together. And we're going to wrap it around the remaining open end from your first pentagon shape. Just wrap that around. I find it helpful to go through the other shape just to make it a little bit more secure. And pull it tight, and we're going to leave our ends loose again just for now, and we will connect them later. And we're going to do the same thing again. We want to line up our pentagons so that they're open to the same side and pointing slightly down. And we're going to take our loose piece, and on this one we're actually going to thread it up through the other side. That's okay. The wire does not need to go in the same direction. It's okay if some of it goes outwards or into the center of our wreath, as long as we get it connected to the next shape. So again, we're just going to weave that wire through and pull it tight so that these 2 shapes are connected. And now we have a row of 3. And you'll see if you get them to sit up, they're all going to slightly turn so that we have a wreath shape. So we're going to connect all of those and keep going until you have all 7 connected. So now you have a chain of your 7 shapes. We're going to take the final end that is open and use the wire from that to run it through the straw closest to the edge from your very first shape in the opposite end of that chain. And pull it through. And connect it to our final remaining open edge. That through. Now you should have all of your pieces together, and you'll see that on the bottom we've got this 7-edged polygon here, but all of our stars still have their center points loose, so we're going to connect those. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. You can use the additional 3-foot length that we had provided, or you can use the lengths that are still hanging off of your pieces. So I'm going to start by showing you that one. You're going to take one of your loose wire ends, and if it's not already in the center, we're going to thread it through any of the straws so that it comes out the center of one of your stars in our pentagon shapes. We're going to take 1 straw and thread it onto that piece. Put it all the way down. And then we're going to connect that to the center of the next star and just wrap it around that with the wire so that you are connecting 2 of your pentagon shapes at the center of your stars. You can keep using that piece until you run out of space, or, as I mentioned, you can use your 3-foot length. We're going to start by putting a single straw on there, and we're going to connect it to the center of whichever star you want to start with. Just wind it around. And make sure your straw is tight to that center star piece. And we're going to bring it around to the next shape. Wrap it again. And you don't want to pull any of these too tight because you will smash the end of the straws. We're just going to wrap it around all the way through and connect your next straw. Pull that one all the way down and connect it to your next shape, and you're going to do that until you go all the way around. Now once you have all those connected, the last step would be to weave in your remaining ends. So you want to measure that and cut it to be just a little bit short of the full length of the straw. And we're just going to hide that in one of the straws, push it all the way in. You should not see the end come out. You should not see the end of the wire come out the other end of the straw because it is a shorter length than the straw. That's why we just cut it. And if you put that in, you should not be able to see any of the wires hanging off of your wreath. And there you have your finished Himmeli wreath. Thank you for joining us today. Please show us pictures of your finished project by tagging us online at Ask Elmhurst. You can find other craft videos on our YouTube channel at elmlib.org/YouTube, and find out more about our online and in-person classes at elmlib.org/events. Thanks for joining us today.